Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and today I want to show you a phone that's not necessarily new, but I've just got my hands on it, and it is the Bamboo and White Moto X for 2014. Now this is actually replacing my Nexus 5, so in this video I'm going to be giving you a review of the actual device itself, and also explaining my reasons as to why I'm replacing the Nexus 5 with the Moto X. So, let's take a look. So starting off with the design of the Moto X, down the bottom you've got the micro USB slot for charging and syncing the device, and you've also got some antenna bands which do cut up the metal band on the outside, but it doesn't look as bad as something like the iPhone 6 or the HTC One. On the top of the device you've got the nano SIM slot, and you've also got the headphone jack, plus again you've got some more cutouts there for the antenna bands. Now on the right hand side of the device is where you're going to find the power button and also the volume up and down button, and the thing that I like about the power on button is it's actually textured, so that if you do just turn it on by feel, you can tell the difference between the power and also the volume up, which is definitely a great feature. On the back of the device is where you're going to find the camera. That's a 13 megapixel camera with a dual LED flash and autofocus. It features things like face detection, panorama and HDR mode, plus it also records video at 1080p and also slow motion, plus it does have 4K video recording at 30 frames per second. Finishing off the back of the design of the phone, you do also have a microphone at the very bottom, as well as two others around the device. On the front of the device is where you're going to find the 2.1 megapixel front-facing camera and also the speaker grille, which isn't a secondary speaker. The actual speaker of the device is on the bottom of the phone, which is a bit of a shame. I would have liked to see in front-facing speakers, maybe something like the HTC One, but you can also see that on the white version all of the sensors are visible as well, which you may or may not like. So based on that, I am a huge fan of the Moto X 2014 design. I love the bamboo style one that I've got here, but do keep in mind that you can customize it as much as you want, as you can use Moto Maker on Motorola's website if you actually buy it direct from them, and I will have a link in the description down below for that. Now I'm not saying that the Nexus 5 was uncomfortable to hold, but by far the Moto X 2014 is the best feeling device I've held in my hands. The dimple on the back is perfect for when you pick up the device, and just in general when you're actually holding the device, your finger sits nicely in that groove. Now one thing that I also enjoy is the fact that the glass on the front is actually slightly curved, so when you're swiping in and out from say Google Now, or just in general moving around some of Google's applications which have the side menu, it feels extremely nice. I would have liked maybe for the volume to be on the left hand side of the device as it is completely clear, but overall it's probably one of the best designed phones that I've ever owned. Now onto the software, and the Moto X 2014 is currently running Android 5.0 Lollipop. Now obviously it's not the latest version of Lollipop, as there's 5.1 and now 5.1.1, but it's pretty much stock Android and it has Lollipop, so that's definitely a good thing in my eyes. Now one thing that I would say is there are some applications that come bundled on the device from Motorola, which you may or may not want on there, and you may want to disable them for instance, which you can do from within the app drawer, but just in general it's a really smooth stock experience, and I'm a huge fan of what Motorola's done because they haven't put a skin over it like Samsung do, and also like HTC does. They've actually just kept it as Google intended. In terms of the actual internals of the device, what you're going to be finding here is the Snapdragon 801, which is a step up from the Nexus 5 which had a Snapdragon 800, but nowhere near as good as what we're getting with the HTC One N9 or Samsung's Galaxy S6. They are just powerhouse devices, but if you want something that's very stable and very reliable, then you can't go wrong. It's clocked at 2.5 GHz, and the GPU that comes with it is the Adreno 330, which is the same as what we had on the Nexus 5, but I've never really had any issues with playing games like Asphalt 8, which do have a lot of graphics and particle effects that you do need to keep in mind. In terms of the actual storage, it comes in 16 and 32, and it comes with 2 GB of RAM, and you can also get a 64 GB model if you're on AT&T or T-Mobile. Now I'm going to spend roughly the next 2 minutes talking about the camera on the Moto X, as again that's one of the main reasons why I switched away from the Nexus 5. Now the Nexus 5 doesn't necessarily have a bad camera, but things like 4K video recording and a higher megapixel count kind of drew me towards the Moto X a bit more. So you've got a side pull-out bar here, which is where you get access to all of your settings like HDR, flash, video, and also panorama modes, location. So there's a bunch of things in here, and I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the way that the camera is done, but it works, so I don't really have that big a problem with it. It takes good photos, and just in general it's quick to take photos as well. And again, you can see here that you can switch between HDR, slow motion video, and also 4K video recording, which is something the Nexus 5 has never had. In terms of actually taking a photo, it is very simple. All you need to do is tap on the subject you want to take a photo of, and it's then going to focus and take the photo for you automatically. Now, one thing that I found with this way of taking photos, not allowing you to focus before the fact, does mean that the focus can sometimes shift around ever so slightly. Now, because it is Android, one thing that I would recommend is just putting the Google Camera application on your device as soon as you get it, because this actually allows you to tap to focus, and just in general is maybe a little bit easier to use. The settings and things are a little bit easier to access. But I wouldn't necessarily uninstall any other applications, because the camera app that's built into the Moto X is the only one where you can do 4K video recording. That's not available yet in the Google Camera application, but hopefully that may come in a future update. So as you can see, I am very impressed with the Moto X 2014, and that's the main reason why I switched from the Nexus 5 to the Moto X. The build quality is a bit better, the camera's a bit better, and just in general it's a bit better. It's not massively improved over what the Nexus 5 offered, but it is something new and something different, and I'm really enjoying it so far, so I will give you guys a future update, maybe in around 3 months or so, to tell you how I'm getting on. If you want to see my review of the Nexus 5 and also some revisited videos, I will link them in the description down below. If you guys have got any questions about the Moto X 2014 or anything that you've seen in this video, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below or on Twitter at Copper vs Glass. For more great content, don't forget to subscribe. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass with a review of the Moto X 2014, and I will catch you guys in the next video.